It was close to midnight when the tall glass building in downtown Manhattan finally began to empty. The last of the executives had left, leaving only silence, the faint hum of the air conditioning, and the quiet swish of mops against marble floors. Marcus, the night cleaner, moved swiftly but carefully. He wasn't just sweeping floors, he was making sure the offices gleamed before the morning rush. People hardly noticed him during the day, but at night, when the skyscraper became a world of shadows and reflections, it was his kingdom. Marcus was 38, African American, with strong arms from years of hard labor and a sharp mind that few ever bothered to see. Life hadn't been fair. He had once dreamed of being a translator, having learned bits of Spanish, French, and even Mandarin from old books and late-night YouTube lessons. But circumstances forced him into cleaning jobs to keep his little sister in school. Still, he kept learning quietly, his headphones always playing language tapes while he worked. That night, as Marcus polished the conference table on the 43rd floor, a phone began to buzz. It wasn't his, and it wasn't the usual office landline either. This one came from the massive video conferencing screen on the wall, the CEO's private system. The glowing letters on the screen flashed, "Incoming call, Shenzhen, China." Marcus froze. That system was reserved for high-profile meetings, often involving millions of dollars. He knew he shouldn't touch it. But the ringing wouldn't stop, echoing through the empty office like a ticking bomb. What if it was important? What if missing it caused a disaster? With hesitant fingers, Marcus pressed accept. The screen lit up, revealing three sharply dressed Chinese businessmen, their faces lined with concern. They started speaking rapidly in Mandarin. Marcus's heart thudded. He only knew fragments, but he caught enough to realize they were upset. Something about a contract, a shipment, delays. Words tumbled out that sounded urgent. Haiyan, Guojia Gili, Shengyi Sheungbai. He blinked. He recognized some of it: shipping, national regulations, business success or failure. These weren't small complaints, this was a crisis. Marcus knew the CEO, Mr. Hawthorne, had a reputation for ruthless efficiency. But at that moment, the man who should have been here was probably asleep in his penthouse, unaware his biggest client was on the verge of pulling out. The Chinese executives kept talking, their voices rising. One of them switched to broken English. "Why no answer? You play games with us." Marcus swallowed hard. If he stayed silent, the call would collapse, and the billion-dollar contract might be gone. If he spoke, he risked losing his job the moment they realized he was just a cleaner. But something inside him, a stubborn fire, made him lift his chin. He responded carefully in Mandarin, his accent rough but his words sincere. "Wo bushi jingli, danwo ting de dong. Naiman yu wenti, dui ma. I'm not the manager, but I understand. You have a problem, right?" The men blinked in surprise. One leaned closer to the camera. Then, as if sensing Marcus wasn't mocking them, he nodded sharply and explained again, slower this time. Marcus caught the gist. Their cargo was stuck in customs because of a translation error in the paperwork. If not corrected by morning, they would lose millions. Marcus felt a jolt. He couldn't solve customs issues, but he could translate. He asked them to show the document. One of the men held it up. Marcus scanned the words quickly, recognizing a mistranslation. The English form said, "electronic circuits for recreation," instead of, "electronic circuits for industrial use." That single phrase was enough to trigger suspicion at customs. Marcus explained the error in Mandarin, then repeated it in English for clarity. The men's eyes widened, relief flickering across their features. He quickly suggested the corrected wording and even drafted a replacement sentence, spelling it carefully. They nodded vigorously. "Xiaxi, Xiaxi," one of them exclaimed. "You save big deal. Tomorrow, shipment clear." Before the call ended, the man in the middle leaned forward, squinting at Marcus. "Who are you?" Marcus hesitated. His uniform gave away the truth anyway. "Just, the cleaner." The call ended. Silence rushed back into the room, leaving Marcus standing alone, mop in hand, heart pounding. He thought that would be the end of it. Maybe no one would ever know. Maybe the contract would be saved and the CEO would assume it was luck. But the next morning, when Marcus returned for his shift, he was summoned, not by his supervisor, but by Mr. Hawthorne himself. The CEO's office was a throne room of glass and steel. Hawthorne, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, sat behind a desk worth more than Marcus's apartment. I got an interesting call this morning, Hawthorne said slowly. From our partners in Shenzhen. They said the janitor saved the deal. They were very impressed. Marcus felt his stomach twist. This was it, he'd be fired for meddling. Sir, I'm sorry. The phone kept ringing. I didn't mean to overstep. Overstep. Hawthorne cut in, raising an eyebrow. You prevented $100 million disaster. You spoke Mandarin to some of the most difficult negotiators in Asia. And you caught a translation error my entire legal team missed. Marcus froze, not knowing what to say. Hawthorne leaned back, studying him. Tell me, Marcus, what are you doing cleaning floors at midnight when you clearly have a brain that belongs in international business? The question hit deep. Marcus had no easy answer. He thought of bills, his sister's tuition, the weight of survival. I do what I have to, Marcus said quietly. For a long moment, Hawthorne said nothing. Then he smiled faintly. Not anymore. As of today, you're done with mops. Report to my executive assistant tomorrow. You're going to be my new liaison for overseas clients. Marcus's mouth fell open. Are you serious? Deadly, Hawthorne said. You've proven yourself more valuable than half the suits I pay 6 figures. Don't waste this chance. When Marcus walked out of that office, the sun was shining brighter than he'd ever seen it. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a cleaner, not as invisible labor, but as a man with worth. And all because he dared to answer a call that wasn't meant for him.